Started.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Thinkshala. I'm your host Mansi. And we have with us the other ideators of Thinkshala, Smitha and Prashanth. Hi Smitha, hi Prashanth, welcome.
Hi,
Good
Mansi.
morning.
Good morning. As you've all seen, last week we discussed the topics and the programs we can expect from Thinkshala in the coming weeks. So stay tuned and gear up because we've got limited seats for those programs and we'll announce it. Today is a brand new day, and we have a new topic for this episode. And the topic is mental health. Why this topic? Because this is one topic that we have always discussed in all our programs. There is some amount of time that's always dedicated to this topic in all our programs. So, as you all know, Thinkshala's programs or episodes, webinars, anything that we do is realistic and practical. It's completely realistic oriented. So we spoke to a couple of students. We've done the programs where we've asked students, what does mental health mean to you? And more often than not, they have actually defined this as success. Like when you're successful, your mental health is wonderful. So to get this realistic perspective, we thought we should also have another person on board, a student himself. So we have Srikanth with us. Hi, Srikanth.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. As you all know, I'm Srikanth, and I'm a second year law student studying law in St.Josephs College of Law in Bangalore, and I'm based in Bangalore.
Awesome. Welcome. So today, since the episode is all about success and mental health, we have a few questions for you. And yes, we're not going to take too long. As soon as you finish this, you can leave. I understand you've got a lot of classes. So let's quickly start with this. Um, if you have to sum up success in just 3 words, what would it be?
So, for me, success is in 3 words, in no particular order, is uh, vision, humility, and order.
Wow, those are big words, meaning a lot of things. Um, so let's put it this way. If you have to think about you as a successful person in the next 3 years, how would you describe it? How would you describe a successful Srikanth in the next 3 years?
So, in the next 3 years, that would be when I'm completing my law course. And by the 3 words that from which I described success, I would be, I would call myself successful if I had if I had defined goals and if I had a purpose, more of like a purpose. And if I was if I was in a better order, which means much better organized than I am right now. And my, I know like what I want in, like not specifically, but generally I know what I want career wise and goals wise, and yeah, that's how I would call myself successful. If I had a path, I would say, or a path which I knew I should traverse on.
Wow, that's good. That's a lot of soft skills in place, actually. So basically, it is all about clarity that, if you know what you want, that is what
Yeah.
success would mean to you. So let's success here. So right now you're exposed to your parents, certainly. You're also exposed to your friends, their parents. So when you look at all of them, how do you measure success? Like, how do you say whether they're successful or not? I understand from your perspective, how do you measure success when you look at these people?
I would measure success by whether they've got their purpose of life, that is their goal, purpose of life, like life in general, not just in one particular direction. And if they are basically overall they are content, and they're satisfied. I wouldn't say satisfied in the sense they don't try harder, but if they're basically if they have a purpose. If they have purpose, basically adds meaning to life. So if they've got a purpose, and if they have got a good vision, that would be one of the major tenets through which I would see a successful person. Because all the successful person I've seen, I've come across, they've had a vision, they've had a proper goal. So
Mhm.
that is one of the main things I would for instance, I would categorize people into a successful category.
Right. But see, I mean, let's look at the parents part of it. Okay. When you look at adults, right, they're already
Yeah.
working. So when you look at them, they're successful in their own ways, right? But how do you measure their success?
I would measure their success by looking at whether they are happy with the work they're doing. Some of them do it just because they bring bread to the table. Some of them actually are passionate about it. In fact, so passionate that they take work over anything else. So someone who is actually kind of happy with the work they're doing, who likes it, is someone who would look forward to a new working day. Mondays become a motivation rather than a start of another start to another laborious week. Someone who likes their work is overall a content person, right? So that's how I would measure. It's what I mean.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, Srikanth. Thank you so much for this. I think these inputs are very
So
critical for our discussion today. So I won't hold you too long. Thank you so much for this. And we
yeah,
will really get back to you in a couple of more episodes when we want more inputs. Yeah. Thank you so much
yeah.
for this and have a great day ahead. Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye
Thank you
bye.
for having me.
Yeah. So, Smita, Prashant, did you hear that? So there were so many words that were
Yes,
coming up. There was happiness that was coming up. There was a vision. There was a purpose. There were so many things that were coming up. Have you
all
have you
big
seen that?
words. All big
Yes, big
words.
words. You know. So we're going to start off with the questions for you folks. Okay, when you see a generation like that, when you see a student who's about to step out and their measurements of success like this, and it's print. I mean, I can't see things materialistic in that, right? So, according to you, what is mental health? I think I'll start with Prashant because I can't see him, so I haven't seen him or heard him. So I'm going to start with Prashant. Prashant, what is mental health?
Mansi, actually, after listening to Srikanth, I felt that if every kid has such kind of maturity and understanding, somewhere we no need to discuss about the topic called as mental health and well-being. I mean, the fact is that today health has become much more wider, okay, because there are so many concepts which actually pop up when we try to talk about health. Today, there are so many counselors who come out and say that they are health experts. When we hear the term health expert, wow, is a doctor? No, no, no. There are health experts in the name of emotional health, financial health, occupational health, social health, environmental health, intellectual health, physical health, spiritual health. Oh my God, the list is going on. I should stop here. So, when we just look at such a wider dimension, I felt the simplest definition I was just Googling because I was thinking that I should not complicate, I should find out something very easier to understand health. I found a quite interesting definition. Ability to adopt new threats is what health is all about. And how many of us have it? That's an interesting question.
Right, right. The agility. Yes, yes. Adaptability. Yes. I think these are things that I actually studied in the subjects of psychology and sociology that I had in my college days for 5 years, and that was a fantastic subject to have. So coming back, Smita, what does mental health mean to you? How can you define mental health in your terms?
Thank you, Prashant. That was actually very nice. The mental health actually, for humans especially, we use a lot of mind, right? The mind works more than the body, and it works all time. So, as Prashant mentioned, I would define mental health in terms of adaptability, agility, the agility with which it can adapt in the adverse situations. that is a testing point, or it is a mental health checkup, you know, where and I think the best of the period where you could get this health checkup done was during the pandemic, when you were just not allowed to go out and be here at home. And for somebody who is used to being out, most part of the day, all of us nowadays, you see a lot of people working equally in a house. Both the spouses go to work, and the children have a very long day in their colleges or wherever they are going to learn. And in that case, it is just that they come home only to sleep, right? So the most of the waking hours are outside, and suddenly all these people who are supposed to be the closest family people are put together in a room and asked to spend all the 24 hours together for quite a long time, an undefined time that was. So I think they had quite a testing time, and I myself went into a bit of a irritable mood because there was so much of uncertainty there that suddenly my life changed, in the sense, without me knowing about it. It was a very sudden an adversity which landed on you. And yes, but I think most of us have bounced back, right? That is where the agility comes into picture, and the mind, which is ever innovative and creative, starts finding ways to adapt to the new situation. And I think good. That is mental health for me.
Fantastic. See, we've spoken so much about what mental health is, right? So we understand what is the importance of mental health, but my question is, as teachers, as parents, have we ever gone ahead, attached that importance, and educated the students on this? Students, or it could be our own children. Have we taken time off to understand this and talk to them about it? Smita, I would go with you first on this.
Yes. No, I think our generation as such, I think we have been so busy about the whole career wise and the status maintenance kind of a thing. And suddenly we got more opportunities to do the higher studies, and the world was open to us. It became a global village. So there's so many opportunities were thrown at us, that I think the whole concept of health itself took a backseat, I would say. Uh, and here I would like to mention that mental health is very much connected with the body in which it is. That is the physical health, physical body health. And it becomes very important for us. And in this whole, the complete race in which we are going through, unconsciously, yes, we are tagging in along our children also in it, right? That is the example we are setting up. And that is why I feel that we see a lot of spike in health problems. That is a lifestyle health problems. And here, the only thing what I feel is that yes, the concept of maintaining a biological clock, which we have lost. That means we work day in, day out, late through the night. And as I mentioned about the global, scenario we work in, so we are catering to somebody who is in the other half of the globe, where it is a morning for them and night for us. And yes, here we are trying to mess up with our biological clock. When I say biological clock, we work the best, that is, a productivity is maximum when the sun is up, that is during the sunlight time. So, because of all these things, we have stopped taking stock of that biological clock. And that is what is causing a lot of lifestyle problems in, I think, the retirement age, or even well before you retire.
Right. I think truly said, I mean, the biological clock and mental health being associated with the physical health part of it. So, Prashant, see, you see students day in and day out and various backgrounds, okay, in different colleges again. So, what is your opinion on this? Do we as teachers and parents have taken time to educate students or any of them, the next generation, talking about mental health and its importance? talking about mental health and its importance?
Mansi, actually, we should understand one fact that when we talk about mental health, it is not all about, you know, being happy and smiling for 24 hours, 7 days, or 365 days. Okay, because we are not dealing with machines. We are human being. Uh, our emotions crack sometimes. Sometimes we'll be hyperactive. Sometimes we'll be depressed. Sometimes we'll be very happy to involve in things what's happening around. There are so many things which is going on. But the fact is that as a teacher, when you really get along with a particular class, you'll be easily able to understand what kind of mood set an individual is owning today. Sometimes you might find that a group of students who used to sit always together, they might be divided and they'll be sitting in two different benches. Else, when we just go around the campus, we can find that okay, there'll be somebody who's sitting very lonely, or he might feel very isolated, or we might feel that this person is very low because the person who is to answer all the questions which a teacher poses that day is very quiet. He doesn't even utter a word. Or we might find that one person is left out in the class and rest all is been, against him. So we find different mindsets, different individuals we encounter in a day. The I actually something I remembered immediately. I remember in my school days there was something called as moral science.
Yes,
I
yes, I
really
remember
love that
that.
particular subject because that particular subject is always in the last hour of the day. Okay, so where the teachers used to come tell us stories and go back, or else they used to sometimes enact stories and go back. That was lovely. Okay, because I found that every day I used to get to hear one story of Tenali Ram, or one story how you're supposed to be compassionate towards animal, or how you're supposed to love your neighbor. So many messages the teacher used to deliver. We used to think, wow, this is really amazing. Somewhere today, that connectivity, okay, with the values is been missing. Okay, because we all feel that we all try to measure success. Okay. And this particular pressure has been burdened on a kid from his birth itself. First, the parents start getting stressed where to identify a good school for admissions. Once they get the admission, immediately the next question pops up in their mind is that, okay, now my son is supposed to be a doctor. So what all preparations I'm supposed to do? So their financial health is somewhere, is disturbed. Again, their mental health has been disturbed. Their emotional health has been disturbed. When the kid is performing very good, they're very happy. Imagine the kid is little, he's into artistic side. He's don't want to get into any kind of medicine, engineering. Done. The mental well-being of the kid is been ruined by, I don't know, the environment, parents, or whosoever. It is very rare to find a parent saying that even though you're flunking a couple of subjects, that's okay. Next time you can clear up. No need to worry. How many parents really let their kids to know that that's okay. Success is not just marks. So as a teacher, when I try to go around these students, or when I talk, or when I interact with my students, I find many times they open up with their issues, which can be, sometimes related to learning a subject, sometimes how they are away from their home and they get disturbed, or sometimes how their friends isolate them. So there are so many questions which pop up, but the problem is that they don't find anybody to talk with them.
So, Prashant, I have an immediate question here then. Okay. So, you spoke about how you have to find students and ask them this, or when you find them, then you ask them this, right? Do you think mental health should be a topic in the education itself as a subject? Should it be introduced as a subject in the education itself as a syllabi? Do you think that should be done, Prashant?
Uh, Mansi, today education system, we strongly find that there are many soft core and optional subjects has been introduced, and mental is also one subject among them. Okay, but where when we say soft core subject, that particular subject is dealt without seriousness. So when you find this is an element which has been introduced and it is a mandate for every student to learn, they're supposed to take it very seriously. There are a couple of subjects which has been never taught or which has been never taken seriously, like Indian Constitution, or it can be a subject like environmental science. So all these softcore subjects has been part of our syllabi, but none of the I cannot say institutions. I mean, it is a passion of an institution or an individual. They should take it up seriously because this has been introduced with a reason. If they identify what is the reason behind it, they are supposed to do the justice, and the justice will fulfill the need and requirement. But your question is very right. If mental well-being or mental health has been a prescribed paper, it should be really dealt with a serious conscious note that is going to help them and bridge them to connect with the future.
Neatly put, very neatly put, and very realistically put, that if it's a soft core subject, then it doesn't get the kind of importance it needs. Smitha, if you were the head of the institution and given an opportunity to say that let's introduce this, which I think you're trying to do it through Thinkshala, where you're trying to push the colleges and schools to actually introduce such programs as a mandatory programs for all the students out there. So would you introduce happiness or success or mental health itself as one of the subjects?
Um, yes, this is an interesting question and a difficult one for somebody who wants to be the head of the institution and has to implement because it's something like a bold one. Um, okay, first let me, you know, if I remember my school days or my college days, I let go of the college days. I Let's stick to the school days. I feel that it was very interesting and very happy. Those memories and the small things we did. I think there were a lot of activities, including the moral science period, what Prashanth mentioned, and lot of other activities like scouts and guides was compulsory, and then NCC came into picture, and then we had to do this Ramadan, like we had to clean the school grounds, weeding. All these things were done by the students, and there was a physical health class, a yoga class compulsory, and a music class, and we had something called a that is the SUPW. That is where they used to teach us a lot of crafts and a lot of life skills. It started with stitching. Okay, stitching it used to start, and then it used to go on till understanding certain small electrical concepts. Like wiring and things like that. And see, these were life skills, right? And of course, the that is a games period was a must, and the school having huge playgrounds. Yes, we did not have, means today it is so common to see a school without a playground. The norms are there. Okay, the norms are in place, but the schools don't have it. That's it. So this kind of a scenario is what we require. So that is, in the sense, the school, the education system as of now, what you see is promoting only one thing, that is competition, right? And this competition is peer pressure, not only the pressure of the parents, the P pressures, the peer pressure, parent pressure, all these are getting together, and this is having a grave effect on the child. So what happens is the child, literally runs away from this environment, right? So he is isolated. He doesn't like it, and that happiness quotient is removed from his life, and it becomes an unknown factor. He doesn't know what is happiness, and there are different ways he gets into to find his happiness. Correct. This is what I feel as a parent also, and as I'm looking into the education system of today also. So if I were coming to the question that if I was given even a day to head an institution, the one thing I would do is, yes, make the sports or the games compulsory, and that would bring in the physical activity into their life. And yes, most of the things which are given as an individual activity to the student to become a team activity, we should never forget that human beings are social animals. So we work in a society, community, and we do, we are very good at teamwork, right? So that concept has to be built if they are going to be good citizens of a country. So there's different varieties of students, what Prashanth was mentioning, what we get to see in a campus on an everyday basis. So all of them project to isolation, right? Kind of pushing a student, into being self in an isolated mood. So trying to pull that person back into is by only giving them teamwork. So anything like giving projects which involves them, and also giving social projects, not only is the technical professional projects what they have to undergo, and internships, uh, promoting internships where they go to the outside world and work with a firm where they get a practical idea about whatever they are learning in the classroom. They can understand how it is implemented in the outside world. Again, there's a team there, and they get to, and there are older adults there, and they get to understand how to behave with them. Again, that social behavior comes into picture. I think more of being with people and not getting isolated, which we are seeing more in this gadget world or the gadget days. We have to cut down on it, and we have to put emphasis more on being together.
Fantastic. Lovely, actually. You came across that. I love the way you gave reasoning and then came to that one word, isolation, and how in the gadget world we're seeing more of it. So I think there are already plenty of articles which talks about how internet will not help us live. How internet is not going to give us what we want in our lives when it comes to mental health. Okay, it's always the social part of it. In fact, right now in the COVID era, where people are talking about social distancing, people are correcting it, saying that it is not social distancing, it's physical distancing. Social distancing is the wrong word to use. Socially, we need to be as connected as possible so that we are with each other mentally, and it is only the physical distance that needs to be maintained. So that's something that's already being corrected right now. So, Prashant, coming back to you, um, looks like we have plenty of time today, so I'm just going to see how we can actually deviate a little bit. So Prashant, see here, Smitha has spoken about isolation. Okay, what would be your inputs to the parents? Okay, you've seen kids who are isolated, right? And Smitha also mentioned about how the students will look forward to something else to satisfy that mental health, to satisfy or feel good about themselves. So when you've seen so many students, can you tell us what are these kind of things, so that when the parents see this behavior or when the parents see something like this, they are able to understand that, okay, this is something to do with mental health, or this is something to do with needs an intervention, that kind of a thing. So can you speak about that piece?
Uh, Mansi, firstly, I feel somewhere, a fulfilling relationship will build a healthy mental health. When I say a fulfilling relationship, there should be somebody who can talk to you. Okay, it can be your friend, it can be your family members, it can be your teacher. If you find a person who can spare the quality time and listen to you, okay, I think I need to put the word in the quotes, listening. Okay, when somebody listens to you, they can feel and understand exactly what you're undergoing. Okay, I mean, when you find your ward or your kid, okay, is actually working very hard, but there is no results. Instead of just blaming him, you're not performing, you're supposed to go and identify the reasons behind his performance. Very rarely a parent get into it. Okay, see, I understand. when the literacy level is very low, obviously the pressure of the parents would be in a different kind. Okay, but today even the literate parents also don't understand what a kid is undergoing. Okay, and when I say the maturity part, okay, please do understand that just because your son or daughter is in college doesn't mean that they are completely mature. Okay, they are even though they are into higher education, still somewhere, that confidence in them to handle themselves will be lacking. So they always need a peer push or an external push or an external support to identify what they want, what is missing. And that you can easily identify. You'll find them, they will never socialize. Actually, very beautifully, you mentioned a statement that it is not social distancing, it is physical distancing. Because if I socially get distance, I think I cannot be a social animal itself. Okay, somewhere you should go and isolate me and live in a forest and come back. And I should come back like a Tarzan or Mowgli. It is like, a parent should actually understand what his son or daughter is undergoing when they spend more time only on phone. Okay, I think today the addiction towards gadgets is really high. So when you find your kid is always into social networking sites or always into gaming or never try to get out from his room, these are certain symptoms which you can easily understand that they are mentally not fit.
Lovely. I think that gives a perspective. Um, Smita, on this I want to build. Okay, now Prashant is talking about isolation, where he mentioned that if the child wants to keep isolating himself or herself, and more diving into a world where there is nobody who's going to judge them, right? I mean, when you're playing a game on your gadget, nobody is judging you whether you lose or not. Okay, whether you win or lose, nobody is there to judge you. Okay, nobody is counting how many badges do you have, and how many points did you win. Nobody is judging there, and that's why probably the students or the kids, teenagers more often than not, get into that social networking site. The very fact that they're looking for recognition there. Okay, so when these things are happening, Prashant already mentioned that if your child is trying to isolate himself or herself completely into the gadgets. But what is your take when it comes to the parents? How can they find out that their ward even needs help? On what basis would you put that? What are the things that they should look out for when it comes to the fact that their wards might need help mentally?
Yes, actually, for the parents, it is so difficult nowadays because they are so busy and they would not like
I know.
themselves.
I just want to intervene and mention this. Like you want to look at your child using a gadget and isolating. That is if the parents have time from their own gadgets. That's also something that we need to
Absolutely,
look into here.
yes. So they would like some kind of a small me space here, and they also will get into the shell, and they say that okay, somebody is not disturbing me. Fine, good. Let me take that time off. That kind of a thing. And I actually empathize with them uh, because it is a difficult world today. So they are doing a lot of balancing. Here comes, I think, the only thing which can save us all is delegation of work. We parents sometimes, think that we have to do everything, right? Especially the mothers. They are now working full time, equally educated, so they do not like to waste their time. And they get into this, a kind of it's a competition. Competition starts at home sometimes. It starts at home, and that is what we are doing. We are showing our kids also the same thing, and what they observe is what they learn, right? They imbibe that. So here, I think somewhere that happiness, what Srikanth was mentioning, that happiness has to be brought in somewhere here, the contentness, and we should stop competing with ourselves and pushing our own limits. So take a break. See, whatever we are trying to tell the students or the youngsters today, the teenagers today, equally applies to us also as parents. We are asking them to get off the gadget. We have to get off our gadgets. For us, I think more the gadget is more of the laptop or the computers, which we are working, right? We have become workaholics, and we have to get off that also. And the mobile phones, actually, for us, the mobile phone is not for social media, but it is more of connected with our work. So we are so much under tension that, okay, my boss is calling or my team is calling, the client who's seven seas away is calling, this kind of a tension we have. So here we need to bring that somewhere, we need to stop that and give space. Okay, while I'm having my dinner, or my lunch, I don't want to have my mobile. I'm going to leave it on my desk, right? So forget it. And night, yes, put it on an airplane mode. I don't understand. Suddenly, people have become so very, sensitive about, okay, the mobile being on all the time, right? Just imagine those days when we did not even have a landline phone, correct? Was there no emergencies then, or the emergency rate has increased now three times, four times? Isn't it? So we cannot. The mobile, is literally a mobile which goes with us everywhere, including it is on our bedstand, and sometimes people keep it on their pillow also, under their pillow also, and it goes with us to the restrooms. It goes everywhere. Everywhere it goes with us, and that is, I think, very sad. When you're going for a morning walk, leave your mobile behind. When you're going to have your food, leave your mobile behind. This is how we are going to show our children, right? Children are picking up. What they are doing is a little different from what we are doing with the same gadgets, but still we are sticking to the gadgets and not to our own race or our own people. So I think it should start with that, and we should also show to them that physical, balance, what we have to find, that exercise or that getting in. This exercise is simply because you need more oxygen, I would say. And oxygen is a requirement, and that is what keeps you balanced through the day, mentally and physically. And it is the one which determines your productivity. And this we get only when we do some good aerobics. That too, not inside the house. It's outside. It's outside where it is in plenty. Especially now during the lockdown, we have more oxygen supply than than it used to be. So make good use of it. And I think this lockdown period, many of us have got into this routine of taking a morning walk or doing that exercise, uh, which is very healthy. So it can be built into a habit, right? Which you would have missed out all these days. So this is what I feel we need to do. As I'm sorry, Mansi, am I sticking to your question or I'm getting carried away here?
No, I think you've very clearly mentioned how, I mean, if we want to look at good mental health, I think you've given tips on what to look forward to. How do we actually move it from where we are to where we need to be? Simple
Yeah,
tips.
and I come back. Now I remembered your question. You were, the question was as to the child, right? How we as a child, as parents, have to keep an eye on them, and how do we find out that something is wrong with the child? And yes, as I said, that both of us are lost. The parents and the child both are lost. So we have to find each other. Um, okay, here comes something called depression. Okay. And the signs of depression. Signs of depression are as small as being lazy through the day. Me being lazy most part of the day is one of the signs of depression, uh, by the doctors, of course, not by me, but the doctors. But it is very true that you see a long hours of lazing around and not doing something to be called productive. That is one indication that something is wrong, right? And it needs attention. It can be from our end or from the child's part. And That is when we need to get alert and we need to take stock that something is wrong, what is wrong, find it, right? So anything which goes beyond a certain period, let us say it goes on for more than 10 days, right? Anything which is hampering your productivity or your everyday life, what you should be doing and you're not doing, that means hampering your daily life, then you have to be alert.
Whoa, okay. That's something that is hard hitting for parents as we discuss this. Um, See, I think a lot of parents come back with complaints that, the kids are doing nothing. All they do is wake up in the morning, and basically, yes, they are lazy. I mean, so are we. Give us a Sunday, and probably I've seen people change their entire routine. They wake up later than expected. And even though my question to them is, the sun doesn't wake up late. We don't stop eating because it's a Sunday. We don't stop going out or talking. It's Sunday, right? When nothing changes, why is it that the routine changes? But yes, that's something that is very personal. Probably that's one day that is meaning happiness to them to wake up late. So that's fine. But when you're talking, when the two of you were talking, there were like a flow of thoughts that I had. So I'm just going to recollect all those thoughts, and I want your comments on that. See, we've all moved away from the joint family system. I can't see it anymore. And I can't see it not only here, I can't even see it in the tier 2 and sometimes even the tier 3 cities. Okay. Even in villages, we have different sets of people. I mean, their own families. They're all separated people. That's one thing that's already happened. So when you spoke about both the spouses working, yes, that help that was there at home. I mean, forget joint families. We don't even have extended families. It is hard to find grandparents at home. So that's where we are. So that help is not there, and therefore the parents themselves are already mentally imbalanced. When you don't have support and when you don't have help, try telling that the maid is not going to come today. Look at the amount of stress levels that's going to come in the next 30 seconds of listening to that news, right? So that itself is so much, so distress. So also, we have stopped communicating, where I don't think we've asked each other, whether it is the spouses or the kids or our own parents, how are you? Like, I don't know. I don't know when was the last time we have asked something like that, because it's more like, hey, good morning, how are you? And it's over. You're not listening, right? So that's one thing. So we've stopped communicating on that. And also, we are running. I mean, all of us are running. None of us have time. None of us have time. You ask, and it's like, oh, I have a full day today, and I'm filled with work. There's too much work to do. I agree. All of us need to be really busy because laziness is a sign of depression. I totally agree on that. Um, but only thing is, my question is, where are we running? What are we running behind? Is that what we wanted? I mean, are we just running because everybody's running in the direction? Like, yeah, silk board, everybody is going there, so let's just all go to silk board. So is the running because everybody is running, or somebody told us to run, or do we really know the direction that we are running into, and do we know what is the destination? So that's another thought that we came. So see, today we're talking, it's a era of startups, it's an era of innovation. So we have stopped thinking, what are we passionate about? So that is another big thought that came to me when you were, the two of you were discussing isolation. Um, it's also because, yeah, as I said, core competencies of the children are not being identified at all. Okay. It's more like, hey, school teaches you ABCD, school teaches you 1 to 10, and then there's multiplication, division, learn that. So what does the kid want to learn? What does the student want to learn? What is their core competency? Nobody is listening. Nobody is listening to what they want to do. See, innovation comes when we can look at our own core competencies. Can we make a living out of it? That is where the innovation is, right? I love cycling. I love bike riding. May I make a living out of it? Is it even possible to make a living? That is innovation, right? We don't look at any of those things. Here it's more like, okay, this pays more, so let's take this up as our profession. Good or not, like it or not, that's different, right? So that is what is happening. So is it even possible for parents, number one, to identify colleges and schools which can have that emphasis on the balance between mental health, physical health, and studies? That's the first thing I want to ask the parents. And also, as probably heads of institution, can you make a conscious decision that, no, I mean, I'm not going to be affiliated to IGCSE or ICSE. That takes away too much of time in studies. Okay. Or I'm going to have all the three types of syllabus. I'm going to see what the student wants or what is the ability or the core competency of the student and give them a syllabus based on their core competency. Are they happy or not? As educational institutions, as the head of these educational institutions, can we actually take a call like that? So these are my thoughts, ranging from joint families till making conscious efforts and decisions by parents and heads of education. So what are your comments on my thoughts? Prashant, I would like to go with you first.
Mm, Mansi, actually, I think the discussion was today quite interesting and at different dimensions because we started talking about health, shifted towards focusing completely on mental health. We started talking about how education can play an important role in streamlining mental health. Okay, now we are just taking a little deviation and going towards understanding what is the base for understanding how this mental health can become a key role for your success. Oh, I mean, it's very beautifully, put across. Actually, I mean, for your question, the answer exists in the discussion itself. Okay, let me start going back to Srikanth. When we want to have a student perspective, when we interact with Srikanth, three things which was put across. One, any individual to be successful, it should have a vision. It should actually have a discipline followed by an humble approach to achieve it. Again, actually, Smita ma'am mentioned a very interesting statement. I really loved it. Okay, self-control. Okay, and one disagreement with Smita ma'am is that never say no when somebody is trying to do it. Let them do it, but try to explain them that you are doing it, and when you try to do it, what are the repercussions you're gonna encounter? Okay, if I say stop using the gadget, their mind would psychologically say no, you're supposed to use it. Instead of that, let them use it. It really does not matter at all. Okay, but again, tell them that how it can be productively used. Make them to use it in such a way that, or teach them how to use it in such a way that where it can be much more constructive. That thought approach and practices will actually help them to frame as a wonderful being. I would say that we don't need external counselors today. Trust me, we don't need anybody. We don't want our kid to be taken to any kind of a psychologist or a doctor. Nothing is required. It is all the environment. Okay, it is all how do we fulfill the relationship requirement, and as you rightly mentioned, how we are socially connected, and how do we understand our relationship, and how do we try to strengthen it. Those aspects actually can help you to overcome any kind of stress, depression, whatever you name it, you can overcome it. Okay, actually, sorry, I just want to place this in record because somewhere I felt that we all are traveling in the same boat, but all of our problem is that we are not understanding where we are heading towards. If I try to
Right.
define, if I try
Headless
to
chickens.
define, if I try to understand my destination, then there is no question of being, depressed or undergoing any kind of disorders.
Wow, beautifully put. Headless chickens running around is not something that we need at this hour. Smita, what are your thoughts on this?
Um, yes, my thoughts is very much as in same line as what Prashant was mentioning. Uh, we should actually take out this kind of one is the pressure, of course, that as Prashant mentioned, stop saying no or don't do this and don't do that. Do this. You know, asking somebody to do something, including a child or anybody else, they say has a very negative effect. Nobody would like to be said to what to do, you know. Let them understand it on their own. And, we need to develop an art of communication there, how we do not hurt others, hurts others. What you say, wisdom. Everybody has wisdom. We're born with it. And we always feel that only with age we get a wisdom. Yeah, it adds on to it. I agree with it. But still, even a child has its own wisdom, right? So, one of the best ways how we can stop saying, all this, don't do and do this, is rather doing it, whatever we want our children to be. Let's do that. We learn more from observing. That's my take. Even the children also, they always imbibe what they are seeing. They are seeing a stressful, distressed set of parents who are always on their run and who are so busy. So that is what they're going to imbibe, right? They are also trying to, what do you say, copy you. That's all. Whatever we see around, that is what we imbibe and we reproduce, replay it. So we should stop that. Rather, give them better examples. And I have seen this change in this attitude is changing, amongst the parents. And I see that they are allowing their children to take up varied forms of profession. Like they would have completed their medicine and they take up stand-up comedy. They allow, right? The freedom is given to them. That means the parents are now in the realization stage, right? The mistake they would have committed, now they are correcting it. So the scenario is actually changing and it is on the positive side. So it is not as negative as we started the talk with. Okay, if a student like Srikanth has been able to say so many strong words, valuable words, means to say that somewhere he is also getting that little freedom, right, to experiment with his life and be innovative. Yes, he's there. But yes, these children are balancing again. The parents themselves are also in the balancing mode,
It's beautiful.
isn't it?
It's really
So,
beautiful.
so in this journey, I see that both parents and children are learners. They are learning some new things, and they are letting go of it and trying to do that trial and error. Trial and error. That scope is being given to both of them. So I wish all of us a very happy journey and a pleasant journey on this path. And yes, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Beautifully put. So, due to lack of time, I think we should wind up. So, any concluding thoughts on this, Prashant?
Very simple. I actually in my previous conversation I mentioned all positive aspects which all the three distinguished guests spoke for the day. I just I have my own perspective. Something I felt one thing is that your adaptability to change. When you can really get into any kind of situation and when you can beat it and come forward, you can be very successful and never think never take anything so serious that that is gonna harm you or it is gonna stress you. Actually have an approach that yes, this is also pass away, so let me come or let me try to take up what comes next. Okay, so have a thought of what's next. If you start questioning, then obviously you will feel that everything is lighter.
Definitely, yes. That's quite a trick. That's quite a tip for all of us
Yes.
to take it up. Question what next, and then you're like, it's just this. So that's easier. Smitha, any concluding thoughts on this?
I have already wished all the best to all of us. So, so let's enjoy this trip and yes, find the purpose and enjoy the purpose. And yes, with humility, accept whatever is there and let's bring order to all of us.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I think I love the conversation today because one, it did not emphasize as such on responsibilities. It rather talked about what we are happy about and how, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a faculty, trainer, or a parent, or a child, or a student, whatever it is, it's about us. It's no more about, oh, parents are responsible for the children. We also spoke about how parents have that right to be happy too. And I think we've emphasized how we have said that, parents need not be there. They cannot take upon themselves to do everything. It's
Yeah.
not a responsibility, right? It's more about what we can do and how we can provide that environment, and are we also happy with this. So I think this has been a fantastic discussion where we have involved family members, where we have involved teachers, the external environment, just about everybody who's out there. So I love the discussion today, and I'm hoping that you loved it too. Thank you so much, Prashant. Thank you so much, Smitha, for spending this time today. It was a lovely discussion. And I'm sure those who are watching, you also have your own questions, you have your own opinion. So, what we would suggest is you can just leave it on the comment right here below, or you could also write to us on thinkshala@gmail.com. That's THINKSHALA@gmail.com. So, we look forward to your opinions coming to us on this episode. With that, we want to close this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you again in the next episode. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you.